Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, all welcome to the Degenerates Corner. I am Garrett from Iowa with my co-host XFL Jim, back for another week of Degenerate action. Welcome to our little corner of the internet where we drink, we smoke, we cuss, and we gamble. How we doing this week, Jim?
You know what? This week I'm looking forward. That's why they always say the windshield is larger than the rear view. Nebraska's season is behind me. The football season for me is done. I could just focus on every other team and not have to worry about watching Nebraska every week. And you know what? That's kind of relieving in some ways.
I can see that. I have questions about that, but real quick, as always, we are presented by the Unwrapped Sports Network. You can follow them on Twitter at Unwrapped Sports, on the interwebs at www.unwrappedsports.com. Grab your merch at teespring.com/store/unwrapped and head over to patreon.com/unwrapped. At the either $5 or $10 a month member level, you get into the gambling chat, get in the Discord, you get all sorts of good picks, myself included, although my streak's about to come to an end because college football is where I'm hot. But if you want to make money
bowl
on the
season's
NBA,
a new season, my friend. Bowl season's a whole new season.
that is true. I said about to. I still have a month, but about to. But if you want to make money on the NBA and you don't know shit about the NBA, get on that Discord. They're giving out prop picks and games and everything all the time. You can make money tailing the guys we got for the NBA. And obviously you make money following me and Jim for college. So
you're damn right. And what you want to do is you want to take those picks that they give you in the Discord. You want to take the picks we give you here on the Degenerates Corner, and you want to take them over to mybookie.ag and make sure you use promo code USN100 for a 100% deposit bonus. You're winning money before you even play your first thing. That's how fucking awesome mybookie.ag is. You want props, they got props. You want weird bets, they got weird bets. Mybookie.ag, code USN100, once again, for a 100% deposit bonus. Woo!
there you go. All right, kids. First and foremost, are you okay, Jim?
No, I'm still not okay. I'm still not recovered.
I,
We didn't have an episode last week because of the holidays,
yeah.
but man, so I don't know if you heard about it, but did you hear about that obituary that was in one of the local newspapers around my area?
No, I missed the obituary.
Okay, so this kind of went a little viral online. I know some Barstool guys picked it up too, but there was a man in Hastings, Nebraska. His name, I don't remember his first name. I've just been calling him Mr. Munson. His last name was Munson. Been a big Nebraska fan ever since like the 70s, 80s. He was a veteran for like the Korean War or something like that. So he was alive for the heyday of Nebraska.
Yep.
He passed away the bye week right after the Michigan game. So in the obituary it states at least he didn't have to see another horrifying Nebraska loss. And then they mentioned in lieu of flowers, Mr. Munson would request that you place an irresponsibly large bet on Nebraska this week.
Ouch.
And what did I do? I got paid that week, took $1,000, put it on Nebraska money line. I at least got good line value because when I bet Nebraska, they were underdogs. I got that bet money line where Nebraska was plus 120. So I got good line value, good expected line value. And what did I get for that good expected line value? Jack shit. I was nervous the entire game. And I think the turning point for me was the second that punt was blocked. I was like, we're not winning this game. It's done.
Yeah.
We're done.
Yeah, I mean, Iowa lost the first three quarters 21-6 and won the fourth quarter 22-0. That's rough. If you follow us on Twitter, you saw at the beginning of the fourth quarter, I was like, I tagged you in the tweet, said, hey, Jim, Nebraska's up 21-6 with the ball going into the fourth quarter. How nervous are you?
I was very nervous. I was not okay. And then I don't think any Nebraska real fan was okay. I was very happy because we looked really good, just like we did the week before against Wisconsin. We looked fucking fantastic. And then all of a sudden, just something happens. We don't adjust at halftime, and it's just we fall apart. And then the issue for Nebraska, even if we're playing good, the second we start to fall apart, like we can't just put the brakes on it. We go full on car crash every time.
Yeah,
no matter what, because it was a different quarterback. We had Logan Smothers starting. It wasn't even Adrian Martinez.
Yeah, Logan looked. I'm
happy.
He looked good.
It makes me excited for next year. He looked pretty good.
And I mean, the craziness of Nebraska's season, their point differential in the Big Ten is 0.
Yeah. Right. That Northwestern game's doing a lot of work, though.
Well, yeah, I mean, you lost by a total of 42 points every game you lost, and you won by 42 at Northwestern.
And we won we won one Big Ten game.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
And how many of those were you leading in the fourth quarter? All
I
of them?
don't. Yeah, not all of them. No, we never led. We were never leading in Ohio State, and we were never leading in Wisconsin. We did lead in Wisconsin for a little bit. I think only Ohio State was the Illinois we weren't. Illinois we were not. We were like coming back.
Gotcha. But yeah, on the flip side of the coin for me, that put my Iowa Hawkeyes in the position to win the Big Ten West. And then Minnesota came through and rode that motherfucking boat all over Wisconsin
Hell yeah,
and
they did.
gave
That was
Iowa the Big Ten West. So we are excited. I am hoping that it's not a slaughter in Indianapolis.
Speaking of weird fucking seasons, what was up with Minnesota? They had some weird ass wins and then losses to like Bowling Green out of nowhere.
Well, they got the shit kicked out of them by Bowling Green.
But 9 wins though.
Yeah, and still came up with 9. I don't know. Fleck is a solid coach. He brings his boys to play. I did not catch enough Minnesota games to like really say what's going on there, but they definitely had a weird season. I mean, the Iowa Minnesota game, they looked good. I mean, it's not like we shit stomped them or anything, but
no, that was a good game.
Yeah, it was a solid performance from both teams. But playing in Kinnick is, if it's a draw game, like if it's a game that you think Iowa should maybe win by 3 and put it in Kinnick, the spread goes up to 10. I mean, that's just, and if you think Iowa's like 3-point underdogs, put them in Kinnick, they're 3-point favorites.
So now that the regular season's done, how do you rate Iowa's season, like regular season?
Solid. I mean, it's about what you expect from an Iowa team.
I think we talked about it at the beginning of the year. You could expect between, what did they end up with? Did they win 9 or 10? They won 10, right?
Yeah, 10-2. Yeah. So that's what.
We were saying you could expect between 8 and 9 wins on like any regular season, and then a 10-2 season is like pretty good. 11-1 seasson is fucking great.
Yep. Yeah, I mean,
I would call this a good season.
Yeah, it was. I mean, they're guaranteed because I think the win total was I can't remember if it was 7.5 and 8 or 8.5, but either way, I won it.
I think it was 8.5 because we were just like, it's got to be between 8 and 9. It's one of those. Yeah, it was. Yeah.
But yeah, I watched too much Iowa football because in the preseason when we were looking at the games, I said that there were 4 toss-ups and Iowa would probably win 2, maybe 3 of them and then lose a game they shouldn't. And they won 3 of the toss-up games and lost a game they shouldn't.
Purdue's a weird team. Yeah, you were ranked number 2 in the country. I mean, like that's not your fault. That's the gods of football.
Well, and
sending Purdue to smite you.
Yeah, because this is kind of like a weird line to walk. Because at that point in time, we deserved to be ranked number 2. Based on
you
what
were saying it every
so
week
far.
that you were like. You didn't think you were like the second best team in the country, but you deserved to be ranked number 2.
Yes,
and then
exactly.
I would agree with that.
That at the time with our record and who we had beat, I mean, in the first 4 weeks of the season, we beat a preseason top 20 and a preseason top 10 team on the road.
Yeah.
I mean, we deserved that number 2 ranking. There was no way in hell we were going to keep it, I was not trying to say we were the second best team in the country. I just based on the performance so far, that's where we deserve to be. Now we got to go play a very tough Michigan team. I would rather be playing Ohio State this year than Michigan.
Which is a wild thought. Like, imagine thinking that at the beginning of the season.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just Iowa. We were talking about this pre-show too. This game's going to go one of 3 ways. Either Michigan's just going to smother us on offense and do enough on defense and win by like 14 points, give or take. Or it's going to be a rock fight that Michigan wins by a field goal or a touchdown and Iowa stays in it. Or Iowa's defense is going to show up, score at least 14, if not 21 points on the defensive side of the ball, and Iowa's going to win by 2 possessions.
I think the first two are I think that's the least likely one just
Well,
because it
yeah,
seems like
obviously.
it just seems like Cade McNamara more than anything, he just doesn't turn the ball over. Like he's not like Michigan's not the most big play team, but they're very like these teams have a very similar want to how they want to play the game. Like
Mhm.
Harbaugh and Kirk Ferentz really like playing the same style. They love running the football, just run the fuck out of the football and then pass when you have to keep teams honest.
Yeah, and that's it's going to be on the defense. We're going to have to force Michigan to throw the ball, either by going up early or stuffing the run game and putting them in third and longs. The one negative thing, Matt Hankins, one of our 2-star corners, is out.
That is rough. How do
So
you
that
I was gonna ask, how do you feel about Iowa's like offensive line as a whole? I know you're like the center is like the best center in the country, but how do you
yeah,
feel about like the rest of the guys?
they're a little up and down. They came together more in the second half of the season, but I think I can't remember. It was either through I can't remember if it was through the first 5 games or through the first 6 games. But at one point, we had only repeated the starting lineup on the offensive line once.
Yikes!
So, like, I think I can't, like I said, I can't remember if it was 4 out of the first 5 games or 5 out of the first 6. We had a different starting lineup, and it wasn't like repeating from different games. It was just like something completely different. So, but they did a lot better towards the end of the year, and I always thought part of the problem with Iowa's offensive line is that 5 guys can't block 8.
It's true.
And we just seem to get in a lot of situations where they knew Petrus was not going to throw the ball downfield and we're sticking 8 guys in the box. And yeah, Goodson would break loose and get like 15 every now and then, but when you're consistently putting 8 guys in the box, I don't care how good your back is or how good your line is, you're going to lose more than you're going to win.
It's true. And then
So,
both these teams kind of had like a weird turning point in the middle of the season. I think, like you were saying, I think Iowa like is kind of rounding the corner and looking better. Like since their Wisconsin loss, the Northwestern game was a little rough, but then they looked pretty good against Minnesota. They looked good against Illinois, and I'd say, yeah, for the most part, they looked like rough against Nebraska. But like being able to come back in a game should tell you something too. Like
well,
this is a team
and
that like doesn't get too emotional.
yeah, and credit to Nebraska. Iowa's offense through 3 quarters, that was not a 21-6 performance from Iowa's offense through 3 quarters.
Yeah,
And
it's
I
true.
mean, I'm not going to get into whether or not it was a catch or not a catch, but that call on their first drive, which would have changed the entire shape of the game, where they took away the touchdown on 4th and goal, that hurt. And the not finishing in the red zone, which is
That'll
odd
kill
for
you every
Iowa.
time. That'll
Yeah,
kill you every time,
yeah.
though.
So I mean, because yeah, I mean, at one point, like even when we got even when we got up to 21-9, I was just like, I don't, yeah, awesome, but
Why field goals?
yeah, we can't be trading touchdowns for field goals. We aren't going to win the game that way, and obviously, we ended up. Our defense came through and scored some touchdowns for us, which is going to be the key
Defense and
to
special teams,
beating Michigan.
baby.
The key to beating Michigan is our defense, and special teams are going to have to score points because our offense by itself will not score enough points to beat Michigan. That's
the goal.
sorry, Iowa fans. I bleed black and gold, but them's the facts.
I do not, and he's 100% true. These teams are very, like, in my opinion, they're trying to do the same thing, and I think Michigan just does it better. Like their offensive and defensive lines just seem to be dominant against a lot of opponents, and no, I trust Cade McNamara 1,000% more than I trust Petrus or Padilla.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. The biggest thing for me is that Peters came in for the second half against Nebraska, and I don't think he missed a third down throw.
No, I don't think he did either. We
And
were just getting gashed on third downs.
yeah, and that's crazy. That's been his weak spot, and it hasn't been the defense that's done it. He's just on third and
Maybe he
go.
just needed to sit out.
Yeah,
Maybe that did him some good. Maybe it's like a little rehab.
Yeah, but it just seemed like all year you put him in 3rd and 8. It doesn't matter if it's a pass that he completed 10 times in that game. On 3rd and 8, he was going to miss the guy by 2 yards. Like
Maybe Iowa took, I think one episode we talked about it where they should just they should hire someone to put the wrong down marker up so he thinks it's like 2nd down. Maybe they're finally doing that.
Maybe because something switched because he converted on some big time, gotta have him 3rd down plays, and that's been my biggest knock against him all season. Why I've been frustrated with him because the guy, I mean, he'd come out, complete 60% of his passes, throw for 150, 200 yards and 2 TDs, which is, I mean, I realize it's not ground shaking, but that's solid QB numbers for an Iowa quarterback. And then, but he'd be like 12% completion on 3rd down. Be like 2 for 8 on 3rd down. And the 2 completions were short of the sticks. It's just, yeah, it was horrible. But he flipped that around, so hopefully he can keep that going. The one like kind of intangible that I think Iowa has is they don't give a fuck about this game. I think that's something that Kirk brings to every game. Like, they don't give a fuck. Like, oh, we're number 2 playing Purdue. Who fucking cares? We're gonna go out there and win a football game. Which I mean, also, obviously they fail, but
also they are playing for something. Like they very much are.
Yes, I mean, I think this could be win it. You got to give them the Rose Bowl.
You would think, right? Like,
you gotta. That's
because you're not going to the playoffs, so it'd have to be Rose Bowl.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, Iowa's not going to the playoffs. No. I mean, if Iowa wins and Georgia, Cincinnati, and Oklahoma State all lose, we have a chance.
I don't think so. I think they've shown that a disqualification is losing to Purdue by like a shitload.
Well, there is that, but I'm just saying, if the other 3 teams in the top 4 lose,
there's a chance.
Or sorry, if all 4 teams in the top 4 lose. No, not all 4, because Georgia and Alabama are. So Alabama has to win, Michigan has to lose, Cincy has to lose, and Oklahoma State has to lose.
Then they just slot Notre Dame in.
Well, yeah, Notre Dame would probably get in ahead of Iowa, but I'm just saying there might be a spot for Iowa in that shit show.
They'd probably do something super stupid and like put Ohio State in or some stupid fucking thing.
Oh, of course they would. But like I'm saying, to have an outside chance, they're like,
hey, it's that dude. Just being able to hope is nice.
Yeah, I'm not really hoping. I'm kind of
being able to like goof around and be like, have it be not impossible but improbable.
Very, very improbable. But it could happen.
Rose Bowl though.
Oh yeah, Rose Bowl is definitely in
That's
play.
on the table.
And I saw somebody that had Iowa in the Citrus Bowl, even if they lose.
I mean, 10-3 Iowa, yeah, why not?
10-3, 2nd place in the Big Ten. That you would think that'd get you a New Year's 6.
You would think, especially in that case, Michigan's going to the playoffs. So yeah, probably.
Yeah. Yep. So
then who do they send to the Rose Bowl then? Ohio State?
I would guess.
Yeah.
Yep. But either which way, and and Iowa could still lose and get the Rose Bowl because they're going to get a big bowl. Just
true, but like the guarantee is you win. That's Rose Bowl. That's Pasadena, baby. Lovely town. Yep. I love Pasadena.
We need to go back to Pasadena and avenge what Christian McCaffrey did to us.
I don't think you're going to be seeing Stanford anytime soon in Pasadena.
No. But I'm just saying a Rose Bowl win after our last appearance would be big.
Man, I was there. Anyway. I was in Pasadena for that.
Nice. Sorry about the shit show Iowa put up.
You had a good parade. You had a good little bit in the parade. That was nice.
All right. So moving into our next subject, the college football playoff rankings.
The semifinal rankings, bro. They came and now they're almost gone.
Yeah. So we have Georgia at number 1.
100% makes sense.
Michigan at number 2.
I mean, yeah, they just basically swapped with Ohio State.
Which I
saw that coming.
I think Cincinnati should be there myself.
But Cincinnati should have been there week fucking like 2.
Yeah.
Of the college football playoff rankings.
And Cincinnati is in at number 4, so they at least have them in the top 4.
And that
That's why I'm like a little upset about it, but I can't be too mad about it because they're at least there. It's their
that's
spot
like the
to lose
highest
now.
they're gonna get them. 4 was like as soon as they got to 4, that's their ceiling.
Yeah. And it's their spot to lose now because if they don't lose, you can't move them out.
Exactly.
So the Cincinnati, they finally put them in the playoff, at least where they should be. Why the fuck is Alabama in the top 4?
I don't understand why Alabama is there. Like, they barely beat a not good Auburn team in quadruple overtime.
Yeah.
So I thought the committee said wins matter.
Yeah.
Who's Alabama's best win? It's Ole Miss. Oh, sorry. It's Ole Miss easily. It's easily
Ole Miss at 12. Miami, Florida at 14. That's not the playoff rankings, though, is
Those are
it?
AP. So they have Ole Miss right now is ranked 8th. Miami, of course, is not ranked. They beat Arkansas, who is ranked 22nd. And those are the only ranked wins for Alabama.
Yeah, and I mean,
oh, sorry, and they lost to the ranked 25th team in Texas A&M.
And I'm 100% convinced that they have A&M at 25 just so that they can say that Alabama's only loss is to a top 25 team.
Oklahoma State beat the number 9, the number 14. Like, what the fuck are we talking about?
They have two top 10 wins.
What are we talking about here?
Yeah, I mean,
I'd put Notre Dame over Alabama.
See, yeah, because Oklahoma State has beat Oklahoma,
Baylor.
I thought they had another one in there. No,
they were probably in there a few weeks ago, but they've beaten everyone in the Big 12 except for Iowa State.
Yep.
And that game was fucky. If you watch that game was kind of fucky. Oklahoma State's not too many calls away from being undefeated, so.
Yeah, and I mean, personally, I'd have Georgia, Cincinnati, Michigan, Oklahoma State would be my top 4.
Yes, but like the way, if I'm trying to do playoff committee mindset, I would have Georgia, Michigan, Ohio, Oklahoma State, Cincinnati, just because that's how I feel like if I'm a committee member, the highest you're putting Cincinnati is 4. And you're probably their logic is just swap Michigan and Ohio State because they beat each other, like one beat the other. Alabama does not belong in the top 4.
No, they don't. Top 6, yes. Put them and Notre Dame are 5 and 6. Like,
yes,
it's one of those things that's kind of hard to be upset about, but because they lose, they're out. Like,
yes, they lose, they're done. So like, it's gonna sort itself out.
But it's frustrating to see Alabama in the top 4 simply because the name of the school is Alabama.
Yeah. It would have been really nice if Auburn just took care of business and then settled it for everybody.
Yes, that would have been nice. Because, I mean, they didn't even look good against that Auburn team with a backup injured quarterback.
So guess what? Just another reason to say fuck Auburn.
Yeah, I'm not a big Auburn fan by any means. I would have been a lot happier with them if they would have beat
Auburn.
But, yeah, and somebody asked me on Twitter, shout out to Christian. Sorry, I had to think of the name of it. Christian from Unwrapped. He said, I like your top 4, but what's the top 4 if Alabama somehow beats Georgia?
So are we saying what is your top 4 or what is the top 4?
He asked me what mine would be. And mine in that situation would be Cincinnati. And this is assuming that Cincinnati, Michigan, and Oklahoma State win.
So the only upset in the conference championships is Alabama over Georgia.
Yes. Okay. So then I would Cincy at 1 because they're undefeated.
Okay.
The only undefeated team left.
Yep. They would actually be the only undefeated.
Yep. Michigan at 2. Put Oklahoma State at 3. And then Alabama at 4.
Yeah.
And Georgia would be out. I think for Georgia, I think the Georgia-Alabama game is a play-in.
Like, it's a de facto play-in game. Be.
Yeah. And I almost said that conference championships are playing games, but that's not true this year.
I mean, it is if certain teams lose. Like if Michigan loses, they're out. But like,
Well, that's a must-win
yeah.
for Michigan. It's not a playing game because that doesn't put
No, like
Iowa in.
certain conference games are play-in games. Like last year's SEC championship was like a play-in game
Yep.
because if Florida wins, they're in. Actually,
Yep.
that wouldn't have been the case because if Florida wins, they're both in, which is kind of how it is this year. If Alabama wins, Georgia and Alabama are both in.
That's bull. No,
They will be. They would be.
well, that's bullshit.
I mean, that's how they would do it. It's
Well, what are you gonna do? Put in Georgia? Who are you gonna leave out then? Oklahoma State?
probably it depends on what else happens, but they would probably leave out Oklahoma State.
Yeah, so then they're either gonna fuck Oklahoma State or Cincinnati to put 2 SEC teams in.
Yeah, that's what they would do. That's
already played.
Yep, they would 100% do that. If Alabama beats Georgia, everything gets fucky.
No, the SEC championship should be a playing game. You or an elimination game for the playoff in this situation.
Alabama wins, they're in. Georgia is in no matter what. Michigan wins, they're in. Cincinnati wins, they're in. Oklahoma State, they have to have Alabama lose and them win. Notre Dame would need a decent amount of chaos to get in. The safest way for Notre Dame would be actually I don't even know because Notre Dame doesn't even have a head coach. So
I think if Michigan and Oklahoma State lose, then Notre Dame's in.
Yeah, but then but Notre Dame doesn't have a head coach. So does the committee take that into consideration or no?
No, you just still.
They might.
Start dropping teams because they don't have a head because their coach quit on them. Like, what the fuck is that?
I don't know the committee, dude. I wouldn't put anything past this committee.
They do have a head coach, Marcus Freeman.
Oh, that's right. He just got announced today. There you go. They're fine. They're fine.
Yeah, they're fine. Well, they do have a head coach, but
they're fine then. Congrats on Marcus Freeman, by the way. I think that's a really good hire.
Yeah, I think that's like there were reports that Brian Kelly was going after him pretty hard to go with him to LSU.
I can understand why, because he's a really good defensive coordinator and he's a really good recruiter. Really good recruiter.
Yeah, so I don't want to say you're wrong on putting Georgia and Alabama in, but they shouldn't.
This is not my choice. This is just what I think the committee would do. If Alabama wins, they're in, and Georgia is just in. They're in no matter what. Georgia is in no matter what. The only way Georgia wouldn't have been in is if, say, they lose a regular season game and then lose the conference championship. There's never been a 2-loss team in the playoffs. I don't think there will be this year either. But like if Alabama wins, they're both in. And then that shakes everything up. That fucks everything up.
So you're going to leave out a Cincinnati with undefeated with a win over number 6 Notre Dame?
They would either leave out Cincinnati or Oklahoma State. And
you're going to leave out Oklahoma State, who beat with 1 loss and wins over Baylor and Oklahoma?
They probably would. I could definitely see that because now Alabama has the win over the best team in the country.
Yeah, but I feel like if Alabama wins, then you're looking at Georgia the same way we're looking at Alabama right now. Like, who has Georgia beat?
Okay, Georgia beat, I'll be fair, both of them played a good, I would call Arkansas a good team.
Yeah.
I would call Kentucky this year a good team. And I would call Tennessee an all-right team. I would say Tennessee has a good offense, but they're an all-right team. And then, even as disappointing as the season is, Clemson's still a 9-win team.
Yeah.
The thing going for Georgia is they play these
you're gonna in that situation you're gonna put 1-loss Georgia in, whose best win is number 20 Clemson, over an Oklahoma State who has beat Baylor and Oklahoma number 9 and 14.
Yeah, probably. I just think the committee would. I definitely think they would.
I think they fuck Cincinnati.
Then I could also I could easily see them saying fuck even if Cincinnati wins 13-0, Oklahoma State gets in, and then it's Alabama 1, Georgia 3, Michigan 2, Oklahoma State 4.
Yeah, which would still be bullshit because Cincinnati would have a better win than Georgia.
Yeah, and no losses. So
Yeah.
Georgia has the better loss, though. They lost to Alabama. They have the better loss.
Yeah, no, Cincy has the better loss, as in they didn't fucking lose.
No, they don't. No, it's no quality loss. You need a quality
You
loss.
need a quality loss
You
to
need a
make the
quality
playoffs
loss.
now. Okay.
You need a quality loss unless you're Clemson that 1 year and LSU in 2019 and Alabama last year.
That was the one point I made when I was on Twitter the other night. The guy's like, "Did you see Cincinnati versus ECU? There's no way they're better than Alabama. There are 30 teams that could beat the Cincy team that showed up against ECU." And I'm like, "Yeah, you may be right, but
are there 30 teams that could beat the Cincy team that showed up against Notre Dame?"
Well, there's that also, but my point is also, you say that you think there are 30 teams that could beat ECU. There are 12 teams or beat Cincinnati. There are 12 teams that haven't and 0 teams that have this year. So,
like, when I hear these arguments, I'm just like, do you just not want them to play the game? Like, what the fuck is the point?
I personally think if Georgia loses and gets in, the committee is saying the season doesn't matter.
I think they say that already.
To a point, yeah. They were giving me hope with Cincy at number 4, and you've just kind of killed it.
That's fucking why. That's why they put Cincy at 4, to fucking string you along.
Bastards.
That's why. I'm onto this committee. I've been on this guy. Stay woke, Kings. Fucking this committee's been bullshit.
Just absolutely fuck the committee. All right, championship.
I did see like an ultimate chaos scenario, which would be kind of funny in like a sick sort of way. So Alabama beats Georgia. Michigan beats Iowa. Houston beats Cincinnati. Oklahoma State wins. Notre Dame wins. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4,
Notre Dame
5,
can't
6.
win.
Sorry, Notre Dame doesn't lose. I mean, Notre Dame just stays the same. So you'd have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Where's the other one? 7, 8. You would have 9, 11 and 1 teams.
No, the top 6 would be 11 and 1 at that point.
No, but I'm saying overall, like in all the rankings, you would have 9, 11 and 1 teams.
Okay, yep. Because you got San Diego State, Houston, and Louisiana.
And don't forget, fucking UTSA would still be 11 and 1 too. Yeah. So you'd have like a bajillion 12 and 1, 11 and 1 teams. What the fuck do you do then, huh?
I think it'd be interesting if the top 5 lost. That would be the chaos. Which, if Alabama was the only one out of the top 5 that won.
So like Georgia loses to Alabama, Michigan loses to Iowa, Cincinnati loses to Houston, Oklahoma State loses to Baylor.
Yeah.
It would be Alabama 1. I guess you put Notre Dame 2. Cincy's out. Georgia's probably at 3. And then
does Michigan
Baylor
at 4 there?
Baylor, maybe you put a 2-loss team then. Do you put Baylor?
I think you put Michigan ahead of Baylor. Even with 2 losses.
Even with 2 losses. Maybe Michigan still gets in with a loss. That'd be a weird scenario. Maybe Iowa goes in.
That'd be a 2-loss team with a conference championship, but so would Baylor.
Because there's a bajillion 2-loss teams. Do you put the winner of the ACC championship in all of a sudden? Do you put Pitt? If Oregon wins, do you put Oregon back in?
It'd be fun. Just because everybody could yell about it then.
Everyone could definitely yell about it. And they probably do some bullshit and just put Ohio State in. Let's get to the games.
All right. Conference championships. I'm going to build a conference championship money line parlay live on the air. Western Kentucky versus UTSA. Give me the Roadrunners.
Me, motherfucker. Western Kentucky has one of the worst defenses I've ever seen, paired with one of the best offenses. This game's gonna be fun.
Oh yeah, I would lean on the over.
I'm also gonna lean on the over. It's at 73 where I'm seeing it.
Yeah, I got 72.5, so you have to have 73 points to win.
I think UTSA's run game is the X factor here that lets them win this game outright. They're the underdog, so
yeah, I mean they're 11-1, so I like
fucking meat UTSA bitches.
Oregon and Utah at a neutral site.
How do you not take Utah? How do you not? It's blowing my mind. It's a 3-point spread.
I can't. That spread was just fucking with me. But yes, Utah.
It's fucking with me. How are they making this spread this small? It's usually I lean into this, but I just can't. This Oregon team, they're getting some players back from injury, but they just look terrible. They have two of the worst losses of any top 10 team.
Yep.
That loss to Utah is terrible, and they lost to Stanford.
Yep. Stanford's not a real football team.
Stanford fucking sucks. I'm on Utah.
Baylor, Oklahoma State. Sticking with the favorite here. Give me Oklahoma State on the money line.
So these teams
already
played
beat
earlier.
them once.
Yeah, and like Oklahoma State beat them by like 13 or 14 points with Spencer Sanders throwing 3 interceptions.
Spencer Rattler, yeah.
Sanders
has now entered the transfer portal.
No, their quarterback is Spencer Sanders.
Oklahoma State's, Rattler's Oklahoma. My bad. Yeah. I apologize. That is unfair for both Oklahoma teams to have quarterbacks named Spencer.
Yeah, it tripped me up like all last year.
Utah State, San Diego State, playing in San Diego State.
They are playing in Carson. San Diego State has not had a home field all year. They've had to play in Carson while they're getting their new field built. So they've been in basically Los Angeles all year.
Gotcha. But give me Utah State.
Ooh, that's I'm rolling San Diego State. Their defense is fucking great. They play a lot of close games is the only iffy thing I have with that. That's such a tough one.
You talked me into it. Give me San Diego State. I played them in NCAA football.
They got the best punter in the fucking game, too. San Diego State has the best punter in the country and maybe one of the best punters of all time. As an Iowa fan, you have to respect that.
Yeah. Yep. You talked me into it. Give me the Raging Cajuns at plus 120 on the money line.
I don't hate it. That's a hard one to call. This is a hard game to pick. I'm rolling App State here, but I can't fault you for picking the Cajuns.
Cincinnati. If I was not doing a money line parlay, I would want Cincinnati on the spread even. I think they're going to come out here pissed off. They know they have to make a statement to stay in the playoff. They're going to be balls to the walls and just beat the fuck out of this Houston team.
Yeah. Also, you talk about like cupcake schedules, and people like will give Cincinnati guff for it. Have people taking a look at Houston's schedule? Yeah. Pretty fucking easy. So they lost week 1 to Texas Tech. Then they play Rice, Grambling State, Navy, Tulsa, Tulane, East Carolina. Their hardest game is SMU the next week. South Florida, Temple, a bad Memphis team, and UConn.
And UConn shouldn't even count. That's not a football team.
I'm trying to see the team with a winning record. I'm
pretty sure my kid's high school team, graduating class of 40 that just won the state championship, could take UConn.
Also, people will look and say that Cincinnati like barely beat East Carolina when they won by like 20 points or whatever. And then now that Houston's going to give them a game and upset them, Houston beat ECU in overtime.
Yeah, and beating ECU by 20 points is not barely beating them. That's 3 possessions.
Like, I love this Houston team. What Dana has done this year has been fucking incredible. They almost went undefeated. This schedule is like 4-ply soft. Like, they're almost as bad as UTSA's schedule. And not to knock my fucking Roadrunners, meet till I die. But this Houston schedule is just soft. I'm on Cincinnati hard.
All right. Prairie View at Jackson State.
Ooh, is that like a conference game, or is that?
That might be a playoff game.
I think the FCS is so weird because I think that's a HBCU sort of thing. So I don't know if they're if they do the playoffs.
That one off. I was going to roll with Jackson State just because.
I mean, that's a great pick. That's the pick to go with.
Dion
for life.
Yeah. Next up, Iowa at Michigan. I will not be betting this game. It will not be part of the parlay. Gun to my head, if I had to take something on this game, I would take the Iowa points. Iowa plus 10.5.
And the under 43.5.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm going to roll with Michigan here.
I can't hate that.
Yeah, this is kind of like one of those coin flip scenarios. That spreads just enough that I could also see going Iowa, but I'm feeling Michigan.
And it's Big Ten football. And just for Iowa money line right now is plus 320. And for the history buffs out there,
It's
the
not bad
last
value.
time Michigan was ranked number 2, Iowa kicked the shit out of them.
Well, also, these teams have played twice in like the last however many years. Like, they don't play super often, and like
No,
Michigan
not ever since they did the split conferences.
Yeah, Harbaugh has played Iowa twice. One time they lost like 8-3 or some stupid score like that. The other time they won 17-13. So
yeah,
if
yeah,
you're going
no,
by
it's gonna be
history,
it's gonna be a gutsy game,
yep.
and I don't know. Like I said at the top of the show, it's just a toss up. I'm not sure how this is gonna go. It's possible Iowa wins if you want to throw a floater on the money line just to get the odds. I wouldn't count them out.
Maybe you could throw like 10-20 bucks on that and then be fine. Just let it ride.
Wake Forest, Pittsburgh. Give me Pittsburgh. I've been on them since the beginning of the year.
Dude, I have a fucking ticket. I have a ticket on Pitt to win the conference. Give me Pitt all fucking day. I've been a Kenny Pickett boy since like 2018. I love both these teams, though. I love Wake, too.
And then in the game that nobody gives a shit about, and it's not going on the parlay, USC is playing California at 10 o'clock God's time.
Yeah, some COVID bullshit for Cal. This game also doesn't matter. Both of these teams, I'm pretty sure, like 4 wins because they both lost last week. So they're not even playing for a bowl game. And USC doesn't have a coach. I don't know what they're doing here.
No, USC has what's his name? Lincoln Riley.
Oh yeah, I wonder if he's even going to be at the game.
He's already.
I know, but like I assume he'll be like.
So.
I assume he'll just be like at a recruit's place, being like, "Hey, you see that? That's why we need you."
Yeah, dude. Poached like half the. Yeah, we didn't even talk about that. That was crazy. Poached like half the coaching staff.
I mean, they're his staff. He didn't poach them.
Well, yeah, okay. Lincoln Riley and half his staff climbed on a plane Sunday night after they lost on Saturday night, climbed on a plane Sunday night, and flew to USC to start their new jobs.
My favorite response was like everyone at Oklahoma and like the Oklahoma like university being like, "We've never felt so betrayed in our lives," and I'm just laughing because like, fuck you.
To be fair, I did not realize this till I saw it on the interwebs, but apparently it's been 42 years since Oklahoma lost a coach to another program.
Yeah, they're one of those schools that the coach either retires or gets fired.
Yeah, it's been 42 years since a coach left that position for another job.
Yeah, they're one of those schools. Like I would probably, there's a couple schools like that. I would say Ohio State's probably like that too.
Yeah. But also Savage.
Oh, never mind, because fucking Tressel.
Yeah. Apparently, in Lincoln Riley's press conference, he said that his goal was to make USC a mecca of college football. The mecca of college football.
I heard that, yeah.
Yeah, they posted the clip on Twitter, and one of the Oklahoma players replied to it and said, "That's what you told us last week, coach." Savage. I love it.
I mean, yeah, it's coach speak, bro. Guess what? It's a fucking dog eat dog world. I think it's okay. I'm less upset with coaches transferring and like moving like crazy with the transfer portal rules that like if you do commit to a coach, you can always follow them. And scholarships generally transfer over too.
Yep.
Especially now with NIL, you're probably fine just making money anyway. If you're like a star player that's going to transfer.
No, I'm just enjoying the shit show from the Alabama fans, and I thought that I'm not upset about it by any means.
That's a very good line. That's fucking hilarious.
And that was just a savage reply from the Oklahoma player, made me laugh. So, all right. So, money line, Roadrunners, UTSA, Utah, Oklahoma State, San Diego State, the Raging Cajuns, Cincinnati, Georgia, and Pittsburgh gives you plus 5,192 odds. So basically, bet 10, win 500 and change.
Okay.
And that is in.
Here's mine. I'm going spread for most of these, except for UTSA on the money line. So give me UTSA money line. I'm gonna take Utah -3. I don't know why. I was just calling for me. I'm gonna take Oklahoma State -5.5. I'm gonna take Kent State, Northern Illinois -3. I'm taking Kent State. Utah State +6. San Diego State always plays in a fucking weird close game. I'm taking App State -3. I'm taking Georgia -6.5. I'm taking Cincinnati -10.5. I'm taking Michigan -10.5. I'm taking Pitt -3. Altogether, that's a 10-leg parlay plus 77,760. You bet 10, you get $7,000.
That is insane.
I'm gonna throw $5 on that shit.
I might have to follow that.
I'm chasing, man. I lost $1,000 on Nebraska last week.
That's painful, man. I feel you.
That made that loss hurt even more.
Oh, yeah. Especially. I saw somebody got Iowa money line at like +500 at the start of the fourth quarter.
Oh, I bet. I was looking and I saw it at like +450, and I was like, do I hedge? Do I hedge and just throw like $400 or like $500 on Iowa right now?
So you wash either way.
So either way, it's like worst case scenario, if Iowa wins, I win like $20.
Yeah. So basically, if you would have done that, it would have been a wash.
Yeah, but then I was like, no, I bet for the dead.
There you go, betting with your heart and not your brain.
This was not with my heart or brain. Right there. This was betting for the dead. I had to respect the dead. Mr. Munson wouldn't have hedged.
Fair. No. All right, Jim. We're going to wrap her up just because it's championship week. We'll be back on our NFL shit next week. Where can the people find you?
You can find me everywhere at XFL Jim on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, everywhere. I'm over on Better Than Vegas, posting blogs, posting fucking gambling videos all the time. You can find me every Sunday, 8 p.m., the gymnasium with my boy Chase, Lupine, Fiasco, Sesums. You can find me Saturday and Sunday morning over on Better Than Vegas and on their Twitter. You can fucking find me everywhere. I'm everywhere.
Everywhere. All right. You can find me at Garrett from Iowa on the TikToks and the Twitter Bird app, which I think is going to die now, but that's another conversation. Thank you all for checking in. We love you all, and we will see you next week.
Woohoo!